So how did I get into the 2024 New York City Marathon? Well, I did it through a program called Virtual New York City Marathon with guaranteed entry. And it has to be the one with guaranteed entry. There are a couple other tiers, but they don't count. And you have to perform a marathon, run a marathon, sometime during a specific week that is specified by New York Roadrunners. It's usually the week leading up to the in-person New York City Marathon. And this is how I did it. Number one, you have to monitor the New York Roadrunners website, okay? And I also monitor their Facebook pages in case I miss any important announcements. And the reason this is important is the virtual New York City Marathon with guaranteed entry opens at a specific time on a specific date. Last year it was June 21st, 2023. And so you have to be ready to go exactly at noon. Well, at least that's what it was last year. So what happens is you'll try to go to the website. It will put you in a queue right at noontime. You'll see a little icon at the bottom, a little runner icon. He makes his way across the bottom of the screen, and eventually he'll get to his destination. You'll be taken out of queue and put onto the New York Roadrunners website, okay? You'll have to quickly, and I do mean quickly, navigate to the virtual New York City Marathon with guaranteed entry sign up registration spot, and then quickly put that bad boy in your cart and check out. So, important things to remember. You're going to want to have a valid credit card on file with New York Roadrunners, okay? Make sure it doesn't expire anytime soon. Also, make sure there's enough room for the, I don't remember what it was, 155 maybe, something like that. Anyway, you got to make sure there's enough room on your credit card to pay for that, okay? So pay that balance down. Anyway, then beforehand, a few days before, you're going to want to make sure you practice going on that website and practice the quickest way to get to that race. All right, the New York Roadrunners website, you know, you have to navigate through this website to get to that specific race. Click the registration button, put it in your cart, and then you got to sign off on the waiver and click off a bunch of other things, what size t-shirt you want, all that nonsense. Make a donation if you want to. So yeah, you're going to want to do that quick. You're going to want to be prepared. I don't know if you can bookmark that specific site. I didn't do that. But another tip, you're going to want to see if you can con another loved one that you trust into having their computer open and trying to sign in for you. Because there's a little bit of luck of the draw getting into that website via the queue. You're kind of randomly assigned in there, right? And there's thousands upon thousands of other people trying to get those very few coveted spots in the virtual with guaranteed entry. And it sells out in less than 10 minutes. And I mean, it is less than 10 minutes. You got to be quick. So if you can have two people on separate computers, preferably even separate internet connections, because one might be faster than the other, better than the other, whatever the fastest internet connection you can have is. So yeah, you want to do that. So you also, you know, we found going to the official government website for time.gov or whatever the heck it is, so you know the exact time. You're not thrown off by your watch being behind or your wall clock being behind. I've even seen my computer be behind on the time, so it doesn't necessarily it's not necessarily synced properly. So you want to make sure you have the most up-to-date time possible. So that, and you're gonna just like starting about a minute before, so 11:59 a.m. You're gonna be wanting to click in on that bad boy, click, 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 trying to get in there. It's gonna say not yet, not yet, not yet, not yet, and then magically at noon, that sucker is going to put you in queue, and that's when the race begins. You're competing against all those other people. You're watching that little icon, and man, it is nerve-wracking knowing it's almost worse than running itself, because the competition is so fierce for so few spots. And this is really, I mean, you win and you're in, right? If not, at that point, you know, you're going to be joining the 130,000 other people the following year in the lottery with a single-digit percentage chance of getting in. Or you're going to be one of those charitable people and you're going to sign up for a charity and raise usually anywhere from $3,000 up to get a spot. Or maybe you're one of those super fast people and you're going to run a New York Roadrunner race and run a qualifying time and get your butt in that way. Anyway, those are the main ways of getting in. So, but this virtual guaranteed entry is not super well known. It seems to be well known amongst runners, but for more casual people trying to get into the race, it can be a game changer. That's how I got in. I put in for the lottery, man, for over 10 years, over a decade of rejection emails. And yeah, I tried my best, but I didn't get in. I never tried the charity route because, quite frankly, I'm not good at raising money. It's not. I'm not good at begging for money. You know, it's a worthwhile cause, but you know, I don't. If you have a lot of cheap friends, or you know, it's hard. So, but some people can do it good. So, you know, whatever. Anyway, I just thought I'd share that with you. So, you know, once you get that, if you get it, then you got to train, right? You got to go out, train, and the race itself, the virtual race itself is timed and checked by Strava. It's an app, a running app, kind of like Facebook for runners. And the Strava app will track you via GPS. And then when you finish, you always have to run a little bit more than 26.2, because believe me, GPS or Strava or whatever, you know, timing device, because if you have a Garmin Connect or one of those for your watch or whatever, that will import into Strava. But just, you know, keep in mind that it may short you, you know, a little bit. So you definitely want to make sure you go farther than you have to guarantee that you get these 26.2 miles. Because man, there would be nothing worse than going 26.1 miles. Because the key is the race, virtual race, opens up, like I said, opens up about a week before the actual in-person race on a Saturday usually. You have from that Saturday up until the end of the day on the in-person race Sunday. So this year that would be November 3rd, I think. So you have that week to run it, and it has to be done as one single event on Strava. One single event. You can't stop your watch and start it later. You can't stop your watch and run it 2 days later and, you know, finish it 2 days later. You can't do any of that stuff. It's got to be one specific event on Strava, and it's got to be done on that calendar day. You know, so in other words, if you're a guy that runs a 4-hour marathon, you don't want to start your virtual at, you know, 8:01 p.m. and because you got home late, from work or whatever. So, because you gotta have time to finish it all on that one calendar day. Anyway, cars. So I hope that was helpful. And remember, a lot of people, after they finish it, they get all worried, like, how do I know it's really accepted and blah, blah, blah. Well, they don't really tell you much. It'll show you on your Strava page that it'll show like completed, which I didn't get an official email right away saying, boom, you're in to the real New York City Marathon. So yeah, you're not going to get that warm fuzzy email till later on. You're just going to have the warm and fuzzy from having a little icon on your Strava account saying you completed the challenge. That's all, So that's a lot of people worry about that. I see that online all the time. People, oh my God, how do I know it worked? Blah, blah, blah. Anyway, so they don't usually credit your account until a few days after the real marathon, in-person marathon, closes out. And so, figure about 4 days after 11:59 p.m. on November 3rd, figure you should be, so basically the Thursday after, usually you're going to get that, you should get that email. And you're, and then what happens is you don't get a code or anything after that. No code, no special secret handshake, come the following year. So in this case, 2025, you're going to see an email saying that registration is open for people with guaranteed entry, and that will be your cue to sign in. And you sign in, it knows that you completed the virtual with guaranteed entry, and boom, you're going to get it. You're going to sign up, pay your money, and you're in. And that's what I'm doing this year. In fact, right now I'm getting ready to do the virtual Brooklyn. I'm not really going to run it hard. I ran the in-person New York City Marathon, half marathon back in March on St. Patrick's Day. So I'm not running this one real hard. I'm doing it basically for points. I'm just gonna grind it out, just gonna grind it out. And so right now I'm just doing a little warm-up walk, getting the old legs ready. It gets harder as you get older. Anyway, I hope this helped. And don't be discouraged if you don't get in via the virtual this year. Remember, there's still a slim chance, unfortunately, that you could get in via lottery, or you can get in via a charity bib. So I mean, there are other ways to get in, and of course they do give out a few here and there sweepstakes. And I would be should mention that if you become a paid New York Roadrunner member, that is a paid member, there is a second chance lottery. That was new this year. I didn't have to enter the lottery this year, so I don't know how successful it is. I did see some people online saying that they got in via that way. So it must work a little bit. I don't know how many spots they have. Again, so I don't know how many they set aside or whatever, but it's just another thing. And give it a try. I mean, or you could, of course, if you live in the New York area, you can always do the 9+1, which is you run 9 specific races that New York Roadrunner approves for getting into the New York City Marathon. You run those 9 races and you volunteer at one of them at one race later on. And that will get you also a guaranteed entry. That's just another way of getting in. Just thought I'd throw that in there. Lots of different ways. I mean, again, this video was meant really to showcase the virtual guaranteed entry, and hopefully I did that for you. Give it a try. You never know.